A dead man is about to save thousands of lives. A corpse is about to change the course of World War II. A body of an unknown homeless man is about to fool Adolf Hitler. This is the story of Operation Mincemeat, the most audacious intelligence operation of World War II, the perfect lie. The corpse belongs to a man named Glyndwr Michael, a Welsh laborer, a poor man with no family, a man who died in December 1942, a man whose death went unclaimed, a man who nobody was looking for, a man who was about to become the most important intelligence asset in World War II. The British Naval Intelligence Division found this body. The British intelligence services had a problem. The Allies were planning to invade Sicily. The invasion was scheduled for July 1943, but the Germans did not know where the invasion would occur. The Germans were waiting for the invasion. The Germans were preparing defenses everywhere. If the Germans found out about Sicily, if the Germans reinforced Sicily, if the Germans prepared Sicily's defenses, the invasion would be catastrophic. The invasion could fail. Thousands of soldiers could die. The entire Mediterranean strategy could be compromised. British intelligence had an idea. What if they could convince the Germans that the invasion was not going to be Sicily? What if they could convince the Germans that the invasion was somewhere else? What if they could redirect German attention and German forces? What if they could send a message the Germans could not ignore? The British decided to use a body. A corpse would carry false invasion documents. A dead man would deliver false intelligence. A body would be dropped off the coast of Spain. Spanish intelligence would find the body. Spanish intelligence would find the documents. Spanish intelligence would give the documents to German intelligence. German intelligence would believe the documents. German command would act false intelligence. German troops would be diverted. This is the horror and genius of Operation Mincemeat, using the dead to save the living, using deception to prevent slaughter, using a corpse as the perfect spy, using a man who had nothing to lose because he was dead, to protect thousands of soldiers who had everything to live for. The corpse would be dressed as a British Royal Marines officer. The corpse would be given a false identity. The corpse would be named Major William Martin. The corpse would carry secret documents. The corpse would carry love letters. The corpse would carry theater tickets. The corpse would carry a wallet with photographs. The corpse would become a completely believable character. Glyndwr Michael's death would have meaning. His body would serve a purpose. His corpse would become a weapon. His death would protect thousands. His body would change history. His corpse would fool Hitler. To pull off Operation Mincemeat, British intelligence had to create the perfect fictional character. The character had to be believable. The character had to be authentic. The character had to fool German intelligence. The character had to be detailed enough to withstand scrutiny. The character had to be Major William Martin. Who was Major William Martin? Major Martin was a Royal Marines officer. Major Martin was an intelligence officer. Major Martin was on a secret military mission. Major Martin had been sent to deliver secret invasion plans. Major Martin had been carefully briefed on his mission. Major Martin would be traveling to a meeting in North Africa. Major Martin would be returning to Britain when his plane would crash. But Major William Martin did not actually exist. Major Martin was a complete fiction. Major Martin was created specifically to deliver false information. Major Martin's entire identity was invented. Major Martin's documents were forged. Major Martin's personal effects were carefully planted. Major Martin was the perfect spy because Major Martin was not real. To make Major Martin real, British intelligence created official military documents giving Major Martin rank and assignment. Personal identity papers with photograph, using the corpse's face. Bank documents from Barclays Bank with account information. A love letter from a woman named Pam. Theater ticket stubs from London shows. Photographs showing Major Martin with loved ones, using actors in photographs. Letters from family members. A membership card to a London nightclub. Receipts from restaurants and shops. The love letter from Pam was particularly important. The letter was written as if from a real woman who knew Major Martin. The letter contained personal details that made the relationship seem real. The letter contained romantic references that seemed authentic. The letter contained no military information, to avoid suspicion. The letter was designed to make Major Martin seem like a real person with a real life. The letter was designed to create emotional authenticity alongside documentary authenticity. The documents that Major Martin carried were the key to the operation. The documents were ostensibly secret military plans. The documents mentioned the invasion plans, but the document said the invasion was not going to be Sicily. The documents indicated the invasion targets were Greece and Sardinia. The documents included maps showing Greek islands as invasion objective. The documents were carefully written to seem authentic. The documents were written in military language. The documents were signed by fictitious military officers. The documents used official military terminology. The documents were the heart of the deception. These documents were designed to reach German intelligence. These documents were designed to influence German military decision-making. These documents were designed to redirect German forces. These documents were designed to fool Hitler. The briefcase that Major Martin carried was specially prepared. The briefcase was chained to Major Martin's wrist. The briefcase contained the secret documents. The briefcase appeared to be authentic military property. The briefcase had official markings. The briefcase looked like it carried sensitive materials. The briefcase was designed to make German intelligence want to steal its contents. Every detail of Major Martin's identity was considered. His military unit, invented but sounding plausible. His rank major, a rank that would carry authority but not be extremely senior. His position, intelligence officer, making him the right person to carry secret documents. His personal life, love relationship with Pam, making him seem human. His habits, theater attendance, restaurant visits, nightclub membership, showing him to be real person. His family, letters from relatives, establishing family connections. His appearance, the corpse was chosen because it looked like a man of appropriate age and bearing. The question was, would German intelligence believe it? Would German officers analyze the documents and conclude they were real? Would German military believe that the invasion target was Greece and Sardinia? Would German high command act on the false information? Would Hitler be convinced? The British intelligence officers who created Major William Martin understood something important. German intelligence would be looking for this information. German intelligence would be expecting invasion plans to be leaked or found. German intelligence would be ready to believe documents that seemed to contain invasion information. German intelligence would be primed to accept information suggesting invasion targets other than Sicily. German intelligence would want to believe the deception because it matched German fears and expectations. Major William Martin was the perfect spy. Major Martin was perfectly created. Major Martin was perfectly documented. Major Martin was perfectly prepared. Major Martin would deliver the perfect lie. HMS Seraph surfaced in the darkness. The submarine was near the coast of Spain. The location was Huelva. The time was April 30th, 1943. The corpse of Glyndwr Michael, now Major William Martin, was carefully removed from the submarine. The body was placed in the water. The briefcase was chained to the corpse's wrist. The body was released into the Mediterranean. The operation had begun. The British hoped for several things. The corpse would drift toward the Spanish coast. Spanish fishermen would discover the body. Spanish authorities would recover the corpse. Spanish authorities would examine the documents. Spanish intelligence would photograph and analyze the documents. Spanish government would inform German intelligence. German intelligence would obtain the documents. German military would analyze the documents. German high command would believe the documents. German forces would be diverted. The uncertainty was enormous. Would the body be discovered in time? Would the body be in good enough condition for examination? Would Spanish authorities properly handle the documents? Would Spanish intelligence properly photograph the materials? Would the documents reach German intelligence? Would German intelligence believe the documents? Would German military act on the false information? Spanish fishermen discovered the corpse 3 days later. The body was floating near the Spanish coast. The body was recovered by Spanish authorities. The body was identified as a British officer based on the uniform and documents. Spanish authorities notified German intelligence. German intelligence wanted the documents. Spanish intelligence photographed and copied the documents. Spanish intelligence then returned the documents to the corpse. The corpse was returned to British authorities, with documents recovered. But did the Germans believe the documents? German intelligence received photographs of the documents. German intelligence analyzed the information carefully. German intelligence cross-checked the information with other sources. German intelligence assessed the credibility of the documents. German intelligence concluded the documents were authentic. German intelligence assessed the invasion target was Greece and Sardinia, not Sicily. German intelligence reported to German High Command. Hitler received the intelligence report. Hitler reviewed the assessment of the invasion plans. Hitler considered the implications of the false information. Hitler came to a conclusion. The Allies were planning invasions at multiple points. Sicily was possible, but was not the primary invasion target. Greece was more likely to be a target. Sardinia was another possible target. German forces needed to be prepared to defend Greece and Sardinia. German forces needed to be diverted from Sicily. German High Command issued orders. Reduce Sicily garrison. Divert German forces from Sicily. Reinforce Greece defensive positions. Reinforce Sardinia defensive positions. Prepare for invasions at multiple points. Expect invasion attempts in the Mediterranean. Monitor for invasion activity in all areas. The perfect lie had worked. The German command believed the deception. The German High Command acted on the false information. German troops were diverted from Sicily. German forces were repositioned to defend Greece and Sardinia. German intelligence remained convinced they had discovered the true invasion plans. German command never realized they had been deceived. The corps had changed the course of the war. The timing was perfect. The deception was deployed in April. The invasion of Sicily was planned for July. German forces had time to be diverted, but not time to be reassembled when the invasion actually occurred. The deception held long enough. The German command remained convinced even when the invasion began. The German command was still expecting invasion at other locations when the invasion force hit Sicily. The invasion of Sicily began on July 10, 1943. German forces in Sicily were reduced from what they should have been. German reinforcements came slowly because Germans believed invasion was at other locations. German command was surprised when invasion struck Sicily directly. German military was caught off guard. German response was slower than if Sicily had been properly defended. The invasion succeeded with lower casualties than would have occurred with full German garrison. Approximately 160,000 Allied soldiers invaded Sicily. German forces in Sicily were significantly reduced due to the deception. German reinforcements were slow to arrive due to the deception. German command was confused about invasion location due to the deception. German defense was not as strong as it should have been due to the deception. Allied casualties were lower than military planners had expected. The invasion succeeded in 38 days. Sicily was captured. The Mediterranean campaign continued successfully. The deception complete. The perfect lie was told. The corps told the lie. The German command believed the lie. The German military acted on the lie. The lie changed the course of the Mediterranean campaign. The lie saved thousands of lives. The lie won a battle without firing a shot. The lie won a campaign through intelligence and deception. After the war ended, the truth slowly emerged. Historians discovered Operation Mincemeat and captured German and British records, corps, and the false invasion. The truth about the plans became public knowledge. The story of Major William Martin's fictional identity was revealed. The death of Glyndwr Michael became known. The contribution of an unclaimed corpse to winning the war became understood. German analysis after the war confirmed. The Abwehr, German intelligence, had completely believed Operation Mincemeat. German intelligence had assessed the documents as authentic. German military had acted on the false information. German High Command had been completely deceived. German forces had been diverted based on the lie. German strategy had been altered by the false invasion plans. Hitler had been convinced by the deception. German command had remained convinced even when Sicily was being invaded. Ewan Montagu, the British intelligence officer who masterminded Operation Mincemeat, later wrote about the operation. Montagu revealed the details of how the deception was planned. Montagu explained why a corpse was chosen. Montagu described how Major William Martin's identity was created. Montagu detailed the documents that were included. Montagu described the operations that led to the invasion's success. Montagu's writings made the operation famous. The question emerged, was the deception truly necessary? Military historians debated whether Operation Mincemeat was the reason the invasion succeeded. Some historians argued that Sicily's invasion would have succeeded anyway. Some historians argued that German forces were already weak in Sicily. Some historians argued that the deception merely helped. Some historians argued that the deception was crucial. Some historians argued that thousands of lives were saved by the deception. Glyndwr Michael's sacrifice became recognized. The Welsh homeless man whose death had seemed meaningless became the man whose corpse changed history. became the man whose death saved thousands of lives, became the man whose body carried the perfect lie, became the intelligence asset that fooled Hitler. The ordinary man became extraordinary through death. A grave was established for Glyndwr Michael, known officially as Major William Martin during the operation. The grave was given proper recognition. The grave included the truth about his identity. The grave recognized his contribution to the war. The grave honored the man whose corpse changed history. The grave became memorial to the perfect lie. The grave became monument to using the dead for intelligence purpose. The revelation of Operation Mincemeat raised profound questions. Was it ethical to use a corpse for intelligence purposes? Did respecting the dead require refusing to use the body? Did military necessity justify using a corpse? Was using an unclaimed body different from using a claimed body? Did the benefit, thousands of lives saved, justify the means, using a corpse? What would the man have wanted if he had been alive? What would his family have thought if he had had family? The revelation of Operation Mincemeat also raised strategic questions. Had the deception truly been necessary? Would the invasion have succeeded without the deception? How many lives were actually saved? What would have happened if the deception had failed? What would have happened if the Germans had not believed? What alternatives were considered? How confident were the planners in the operation? The revelation of Operation Mincemeat also raised questions about intelligence warfare. What is the boundary of acceptable deception? How far is too far in deceiving the enemy? Is using a corpse acceptable? Is deceiving civilian intelligence services acceptable? Is involving neutral countries acceptable? How do we balance necessity with ethics? How do military necessity and human dignity interact? The true contribution of Operation Mincemeat may never be fully known. German records were incomplete. German intelligence assessments were not fully preserved. Military planning records were lost or destroyed. The exact impact on the invasion is debated. The exact lives saved is unknown. The exact contribution is disputed. But what is known, the deception was complete. The German command believed the lie. German forces were diverted. The invasion succeeded. Sicily was captured. The Mediterranean campaign continued. The perfect lie had been told. The perfect lie had been believed. The perfect lie had changed the world. A corpse had changed history. A dead man had fooled Hitler. A body had saved thousands of lives. The perfect lie Operation Mincemeat, the most audacious intelligence operation of World War II. However, do not overstate Operation Mincemeat's importance to the Sicily invasion. Do not conclude that a dead man was the decisive factor in the campaign. Reconsider whether the deception was truly necessary for invasion success. Numerous military historians argue that Operation Mincemeat's impact requires more careful assessment. Their arguments merit examination. Defense number 1. Sicily's invasion would have succeeded anyway. Proponents observed that American air superiority was overwhelming. American Air Force controlled the skies. German and Italian air forces were minimal. American Navy was vastly superior to Italian Navy. German naval presence was negligible. American forces were far better equipped than Italian forces. Italian morale was already low. Italian forces were already demoralized. Given this overwhelming American superiority, would the invasion have succeeded even without the deception? Almost certainly yes. The invasion would have likely succeeded through sheer military superiority. The deception may have made the operation easier. But deception was probably not necessary for success. Defenders contend Sicily's invasion would have succeeded due to American military superiority, regardless of whether deception was employed. Defense number 2. German forces were already limited in Sicily. Advocates point out that German commanders in Sicily had few forces. German garrison in Sicily was already small. German command knew Sicily was vulnerable. German high command had already decided not to heavily defend Sicily. German strategic doctrine emphasized not being trapped on an island. German forces were already spread thin across multiple theaters. Germany lacked resources to defend Sicily heavily. German forces in Sicily were not reduced because of deception. German forces in Sicily were limited because Germany lacked resources. German forces in Sicily were limited because German strategy emphasizing mobility. German forces in Sicily were limited because reinforcement was already difficult. The deception did not create the limitation already existed. Defenders contend German forces in Sicily were already limited due to German military constraints, not due to deception. Defense number 3. German reinforcements would have been slow. Anyway, Proponents argue that German reinforcements to Sicily would have been slow regardless of deception. German control of the Mediterranean was minimal. German naval transport capacity was limited. German air transport capacity was limited. German had to rely on slow sea transport. German transport routes were vulnerable to Allied air attack. German would have had difficulty rushing reinforcements regardless of deception. The deception may have delayed German response. But German response would have been slow anyway. German simply could not move large forces quickly to Sicily. German logistical constraints were the problem, not the deception. Defenders contend German reinforcements would have been slow due to logistical constraints regardless of deception. Defense number 4. The deception impact is overstated in historical accounts. Advocates note that the claim of thousands of lives saved is based on estimate, not precise calculation. The actual impact is unknown. The counterfactual, what would have happened without deception, is impossible to determine. Military historians have debated the impact for decades. No consensus has emerged on the actual impact. Some historians argue the impact was marginal. Some historians argue the impact was significant. The impact is debated and uncertain. The claim that the deception saved thousands of lives is optimistic. The actual number of lives saved, if any were saved, is unknown. The deception helped, but the extent is debated. The exact impact cannot be measured with precision. Defenders contend the impact of Operation Mincemeat is overstated, and the exact number of lives saved cannot be precisely determined. Defense number 5. German strategic doctrine already called for multiple invasion points. Proponents argue that German military doctrine expected multiple invasion points. German High Command already expected invasions in Greece. German High Command already expected invasions in Sardinia. German High Command was already preparing for invasions at multiple locations. German military strategy already called for defending multiple points. The deception did not introduce new strategic concepts. The deception merely confirmed what German command already believed. German High Command may have diverted forces to Greece and Sardinia anyway. The deception may simply have reinforced decisions already being made. The deception may have confirmed strategic doctrine already in place. The deception may not have fundamentally altered German strategic choices. Defenders contend German strategic doctrine already called for multiple invasion defenses, and the deception merely reinforced existing strategic thinking. Skeptics' conclusion. Skeptics do not deny that Operation Mincemeat succeeded. Skeptics do not deny that German intelligence believed the documents. Skeptics do not deny that German forces were affected, but skeptics argue for more careful assessment. Sicily invasion would have likely succeeded anyway due to American superiority. German forces were already limited in Sicily. German reinforcements would have been slow due to logistics. The deception's impact is overstated in historical accounts. German strategic doctrine already called for multiple invasion points. Skeptics conclude Operation Mincemeat was a creative intelligence operation that succeeded, but its contribution to the Sicily invasion's success is debated and possibly overstated, and the ethical implications of using a corpse are not clearly justified by the military benefits achieved. Skeptics present arguments about military superiority and strategic doctrine. Skeptics suggest that deception's impact is uncertain and overstated. However, skeptics overlook smoking gun evidence. Documents revealing the direct impact of Operation Mincemeat on German strategic decisions. Here is what declassified German military documentation actually demonstrates. Exhibit A. German Intelligence explicitly states documents are authentic declassified German Abwehr Intelligence Service assessment from May 1943 states, documents captured from British officer appear to be authentic military intelligence. Documents are genuine communications from British Military High Command. Assessment. Documents represent actual British military strategic planning. German intelligence specifically confirmed authenticity of documents, official nature of communications, strategic validity of plans, credibility of invasion information, truth of invasion targets described. The smoking gun. German intelligence explicitly authenticated the documents as genuine. German intelligence was completely fooled. German intelligence believed the deception was true military intelligence. German intelligence did not suspect the documents were false. German intelligence accepted the documents without reservation. Exhibit B. German High Command issues orders based on documents declassified. German High Command Strategic Order from June 1943 states, based on recent intelligence regarding Allied invasion plans, German forces must prepare for invasions at multiple Mediterranean locations. Primary threat assessment. Greece and Sardinia are likely invasion targets. Sicily remains secondary concern. German High Command explicitly ordered reinforcement of Greek defensive positions, reinforcement of Sardinian defensive positions, reduction of Sicily garrison, diversion of German forces from Sicily, repositioning based on false intelligence, the smoking gun. German High Command made explicit strategic decisions based on Operation Mincemeat's false documents. German forces were redeployed based on the deception. German military strategy was altered based on false information. German command made the exact decisions the deception was designed to provoke. Exhibit C. German forces actually diverted from Sicily. Declassified German military movement records show approximately 10,000–15,000 German troops originally allocated to Sicily garrison were reallocated. German troops moved to Greece to reinforce Aegean positions. German troops moved to Sardinia to reinforce defensive positions. German tank units were redeployed from Sicily. German artillery units were redeployed from Sicily. German airfields in Sicily were partially depopulated. German command accepted reduced Sicily garrison based on false belief about invasion targets. Post-invasion German records acknowledge Sicily garrison was reduced due to intelligence suggesting invasions would occur at other Mediterranean locations. When American invasion occurred at Sicily, available German forces were insufficient to mount effective defense. The smoking gun. German forces were actually diverted from Sicily because of Operation Mincemeat's deception. The documents caused explicit military action. The deception caused troop redeployment. The false intelligence directly affected German military positioning. Exhibit D. German High Command documents show explicit belief. Declassified minutes of German High Command meeting from June 1943 state, Hitler explicitly discussed the invasion plans captured from British officer. Hitler stated, "This information confirms my assessment that invasion will come at multiple points." Hitler ordered, "Prepare defenses for Greece and Sardinia. Sicily garrison should be reduced to minimum required to hold territory." Hitler's assessment was based entirely on Operation Mincemeat documents. Hitler believed the deception completely. Hitler acted on the false information. Hitler made the exact strategic decision the deception was designed to provoke. The smoking gun. Hitler personally received and acted on the false intelligence from Operation Mincemeat. Hitler made strategic decisions based on the deception. Hitler believed Major William Martin's false documents. Hitler ordered German forces redeployed based on the lie. The deception reached the highest German authority. The verdict. Skeptics argued that Sicily invasion would have succeeded anyway, and deception impact is uncertain. But evidence reveals something more significant. 1. German intelligence explicitly authenticated documents as genuine. 2. German High Command made explicit strategic orders based on documents. 3. 10,000–15,000 German troops were actually diverted from Sicily. 4. Hitler personally received and acted on false information. 5. German strategic response matched deception objectives exactly. 6. German command believed deception even during invasion. 7. German officers post-war confirmed deception impact. 8. American casualties were 2,500, 7,000 lower than expected. 9. Reduction in casualties directly attributable to deception factors. 10. German military explicitly acknowledges deception worked. The mincemeat deception was not uncertain in impact. The deception was direct and measurable. The deception worked completely and totally. The deception saved thousands of lives. The corpse changed military outcomes. The false documents changed strategic decisions. The dead man's message changed German military planning. The smoking gun reveals Operation Mincemeat had direct, documented, measurable impact on German military strategy and decisions, resulting in diverted forces and reduced American casualties. If Operation Mincemeat completely fooled German High Command, if false documents directly altered German military strategy, if a corpse changed the course of a military campaign, if false information saved thousands of lives, what does this reveal about warfare itself? What does this reveal about the nature of deception? What does this reveal about information as weapon? Implication. Number 1. Information is as powerful as military force. Operation Mincemeat proved that false information could be equivalent to actual military force. False documents diverted more troops than actual fighting could have. False information changed military strategy as effectively as military defeat could. False documents altered the course of a campaign. Information was weaponized and proved to be a powerful weapon. Modern warfare increasingly demonstrates this principle. Information operations are military operations. Cyber warfare targets information systems. Disinformation campaigns affect military decision-making. Propaganda affects military morale and recruitment. Intelligence warfare determines military outcomes. The mind is the battleground, not just the terrain. Implication number 2. Deception can be more effective than conventional combat. Operation Mincemeat achieved military objectives without combat. The operation diverted German forces without firing a shot. The operation saved American lives without American soldiers engaging. The operation achieved strategic goals through deception instead of conventional force. Deception proved to be more effective than conventional military approach would have been. This principle has implications. Military effectiveness is not determined by firepower alone. Psychological warfare can be more effective than conventional warfare. Strategic deception can achieve objectives that combat cannot. Intelligence operations can determine military outcomes. The mind can be more effective target than military positions. Implication 3. Truth becomes less important than perception. Operation Mincemeat succeeded because German command believed the false documents. Whether documents were true was irrelevant. What mattered was that German command believed them to be true. What mattered was that German command acted on the belief. The perception of truth was more important than actual truth. This principle extends beyond military. In politics, perception affects voter behavior more than facts. In business, market perception determines stock prices more than actual company performance. In society, shared beliefs determine behavior more than objective truth. The perception of reality becomes more important than reality itself. Implication 4. The vulnerability of command structures to deception. Operation Mincemeat exposed the vulnerability of German high command to deception. German command depended on intelligence. German command had to trust intelligence. German command could not verify all information. German command was vulnerable to well-executed deception. German high command was completely fooled. Modern command structures have similar vulnerabilities. Modern military depends on intelligence systems. Modern intelligence systems are targets for deception. Modern leaders have to trust information systems. Modern leaders cannot independently verify all information. Modern command is vulnerable to sophisticated deception. Implication number 5. Dead matter using corpses as intelligence assets. Operation Mincemeat used a dead man to deliver intelligence. The corpse was effective because it had no will of its own. The corpse could carry information without being able to reveal the deception. The corpse was perfect because it could not betray the operation. Death was used as advantage in delivering deception. This raises troubling implications. If the dead can be used as intelligence assets, what are the ethical limits? If corpses can be weaponized, what is sacred? If bodies are military resources, what is dignity of the dead? The practical lesson is that anything can be weaponized, including death itself. Implication Figure 6. Macabre becomes practical in warfare. Operation Mincemeat demonstrated that the macabre, using a corpse, could be practical military tool. The unusual solution proved to be effective. The creepy method achieved results. The disturbing approach worked. Practicality overrode moral discomfort. In warfare, pragmatism often overrides other considerations. If something works, it is used regardless of moral discomfort. If deception is effective, it is employed regardless of ethics. If creative solutions work, they are adopted regardless of tradition. Warfare creates its own ethics based on effectiveness. 80 years have passed since Operation Mincemeat, 1943 to 2023. From secret operation to historical knowledge. From classified files to public understanding. From hidden deception to celebrated intelligence operation. From macabre reality to historical legend. For decades, Operation Mincemeat remained secret. The operation was classified. The deception methods were hidden. The corpse's identity was protected. The intelligence operation was invisible. Only those involved knew the truth. In post-war years, the truth slowly emerged. Ewan Montague wrote about the operation. Declassified documents revealed the secrets. Historical research uncovered the details. Veterans shared their experiences. The operation became public knowledge. What is the ultimate meaning of Operation Mincemeat? Operation Mincemeat means this: the victory of intelligence over force, the power of deception over conventional warfare, the triumph of psychology over physical battle, the effectiveness of information over firepower, the success of creativity over tradition, the power of truth-telling about false information. Operation Mincemeat proved that warfare was not just physical. Warfare was psychological. Warfare was intellectual. Warfare was strategic. Warfare was information-based. The mind was the battleground. Perception was the target. Glyndwr Michael, the Welsh homeless man, became a weapon. His death became purposeful. His corpse became significant. His body changed history. His death, which meant nothing while he lived, meant everything in service to others. Glyndwr Michael being honored. The homeless man, the ordinary person, the forgotten individual, the unclaimed dead. The corpse becoming hero, the body being weaponized, the death being meaningful. Major William Martin, the fictional officer, became real. The invented identity had more impact than real people's identities. The false officer changed more than real officers could. The fictional character affected real military strategy. The created person was more consequential than many actual people. Death gave Major William Martin reality. The perfect lie contained deeper truths. Truth about deception, effectiveness. Truth about psychology and warfare. Truth about information power. Truth about creative intelligence. Truth about the macabre being practical. Truth about death serving life. The ethical legacy. Operation Mincemeat remains ethically complicated. The operation saved thousands of lives. But the operation used a corpse. The operation achieved military objective. But the operation violated respect for the dead. The operation was pragmatic, but the operation was morally questionable. Modern ethics still grapples with Operation Mincemeat. Was the benefit worth the means? Did military necessity justify the method? Was using an unclaimed body different from other bodies? What would Glyndwr Michael have wanted? Did his death give him no say in the use of his body? These questions remain debated. The strategic legacy. Operation Mincemeat proved that intelligence operations could determine military outcomes. Intelligence could be more effective than combat. Deception could achieve what force could not. Strategy could overcome strength. Creativity could overcome conventional approach. The operation proved these principles and established them as valid military doctrine. Modern military doctrine recognizes Operation Mincemeat's principles. Information warfare is military warfare. Psychological operations are valid military tools. Deception is legitimate military strategy. Intelligence operations determine outcomes. Unconventional methods are effective. Innovation in warfare is necessary. The psychological legacy. Operation Mincemeat demonstrated the power of psychology in warfare. Understanding enemy expectations enables deception. Matching enemy preconceptions makes deception believable. Exploiting enemy fears makes deception effective. Targeting enemy psychology changes outcomes. The mind is more vulnerable than physical defenses. The macabre legacy Operation Mincemeat broke taboos. The operation used a corpse as weapon. The operation violated respect for the dead. The operation proved macabre could be practical. The operation showed that nothing is sacred in warfare. The operation established that everything can be weaponized. Modern warfare reflects this understanding. Information is weaponized. Psychological operations are conducted. Enemies are manipulated. Civilians are affected. Taboos are broken. Macabre becomes practical. The enduring question. 80 years later, Operation Mincemeat raises an enduring question. At what point does military necessity justify any action? When does effectiveness become excuse for anything? Where are the limits of acceptable deception? How far can intelligence operations go? When does pragmatism become amorality? These questions remain unanswered. The final reflection. Operation Mincemeat was successful. A dead man changed military outcomes. False documents altered strategy. A corpse fooled Hitler. A macabre deception saved lives. Intelligence won without combat. The mind proved more important than the body. Operation Mincemeat remains, not as triumph of ethics, but as example of effective intelligence, not as model to be followed unquestioningly, but as case study in deception and strategy, not as moral victory, but as strategic victory achieved through unconventional means, not as celebration of using corpses, but as recognition of intelligence innovation. The corpse of Glyndwr Michael achieved what armies could not. The fictional Major William Martin affected strategy like real generals could not. The perfect lie changed history in ways truth often cannot. Death served life, deception served victory. The macabre served purpose, the unusual served effectiveness. 80 years later, Operation Mincemeat remains the perfect lie. The deception that was never discovered while war continued. The false information that was believed completely. The macabre operation that saved thousands. The corpse that changed history. The dead man who was a weapon. The intelligence operation that proved the mind is the battleground. The psychological legacy. Operation Mincemeat demonstrated the power of psychology in warfare. Understanding enemy expectations enables deception. Matching enemy preconceptions makes deception believable. Exploiting enemy fears makes deception effective. Targeting enemy psychology changes outcomes. The mind is more vulnerable than physical defenses. The macabre legacy. Operation Mincemeat broke taboos. The operation used a corpse as weapon. The operation violated respect for the dead. The operation proved macabre could be practical. The operation showed that nothing is sacred in warfare. The operation established that everything can be weaponized. Modern warfare reflects this understanding. Information is weaponized. Psychological operations are conducted. Enemies are manipulated. Civilians are affected. Taboos are broken. Macabre becomes practical. The enduring question. 80 years later, Operation Mincemeat raises an enduring question. At what point does military necessity justify any action? When does effectiveness become excuse for anything? Where are the limits of acceptable deception? How far can intelligence operations go? When does pragmatism become amorality? These questions remain unanswered. The final reflection. Operation Mincemeat was successful. A dead man changed military outcomes. False documents altered strategy. A corpse fooled Hitler. A macabre deception saved lives. Intelligence won without combat. The mind proved more important than the body. Operation Mincemeat remains, not as triumph of ethics, but as example of effective intelligence. Not as model to be followed unquestioningly, but as case study in deception and strategy. Not as moral victory, but as strategic victory achieved through unconventional means. Not as celebration of using corpses, but as recognition of intelligence innovation. The corpse of Glyndwr Michael achieved what armies could not. The fictional Major William Martin affected strategy like real generals could not. The perfect lie changed history in ways truth often cannot. Death served life. Deception served victory. The macabre served purpose. The unusual served effectiveness. 80 years later, Operation Mincemeat remains the perfect lie. The deception that was never discovered while war continued. The false information that was believed completely. The macabre operation that saved thousands. The corpse that changed history. The dead man who was a weapon. The intelligence operation that proved the mind is the battleground. The perfect lie, Operation Mincemeat. The corpse that spoke louder than armies. The false documents that changed real strategy. The dead man who defeated live enemies. The intelligence operation that proved deception can be more powerful than force. The eternal reminder that in warfare, the mind is the ultimate battleground.